Okay, straight up today we're going to do a bit of mobility. We're going to work through our glutes with the lacrosse ball. So quite often, from sitting down we get a lot of pain through the back of the hips, and when we're doing workouts where we've done a lot of lunging, we kind of get sort of a bit of hip pain. Or even when we're trying to squat deep, we try and squat deep but we seem to be jammed in the front. And most of the time it's because our glutes have tightened up. It's pushing the femoral head forward into the hip socket, and we're getting all jammed up. And what we want to do is try and sort of loosen some of these glute structures and help to open up the hip a little bit more. So what we're trying to aim for is, if you can imagine, there's like a triangle sort of from the top of your iliac crest, so across the top down to your greater trochanter, which is that bony part, your hip bone. There's kind of like a triangle of muscle there, right along the hip ridge and down. So we've got our glute medius, which is over the top, our glute minimus, which is underneath, and then we have a whole bunch of smaller external glute rotators that come across from the sacrum, and then we've got our main glute maximus. But for this, we kind of want to focus on through this sort of hip area here. So the way we're going to do that, I'll just make sure I'm in the picture, here we go, is we're going to get the ball to the side, and we're actually going to roll sideways onto the ball. So there's so many little areas in here that you can find that are going to be painful, and if you work just under the top of the ridge of the hip to start with, you're going to find it's relatively uncomfortable, but working through these sections is going to be really beneficial to helping your hips, open up your hips and make them feel a lot nicer. So working all the way through these sections, finding little tight spots, going right onto your side, and then as you slowly work towards the back of the hip crest, rolling towards the back. And we can do some things like tack and stretch, so pulling that knee up towards you and then back again, just to try and move the spot again, just to try and stretch that muscle over the ball. If you find a really painful spot, like a trigger point, you can actually hold on that spot. So find yourself about a 7 or 8 out of 10 on the pain scale and hold. Just breathe and hold on that same spot for up to a minute or two until you start to feel that pain diminish down to almost nothing, and then move to another spot and do the same thing. This is how we do trigger point release, and this makes you feel so good and relaxed after you finish. So muck around with that. You can spend 2 up to 5 minutes per side working through little spots, moving around, finding some painful stuff, and then once you're finished, stand up, have a bit of a squat to see how open your hip feels, and you're done.